The Unforgettable Disappearance of Lauren Whitaker, Elkins, West Virginia, 2002. On a gray, rain-soaked evening in late October 2002, 22-year-old Lauren Whitaker vanished without a sound from a rural back road just outside Elkins, West Virginia. No tire tracks, no broken branches, no signs of a struggle, just an idling car, headlights on and a purse left on the passenger seat. Contents undisturbed. To this day, no one has been able to explain what happened in those final minutes before the fog rolled in and swallowed her whole. Before we dive in, if you enjoy chilling true stories and unsettling mysteries, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new videos are available. Elkins is where most people still wave at one another from their front porches. Nestled in the heart of the Monongahela National Forest, it's surrounded by thick Appalachian wilderness, beautiful but unforgiving. Long, winding roads vanish into mountains. In October, the fog comes early and lingers late. People there live quiet lives. The woods are their backyard and, in many ways, their boundary. But every town has a ghost story. For Elkins, it's Lauren Whitaker. Lauren was a Davis and Elkins College senior, just a few blocks from downtown. A bright, thoughtful young woman majoring in environmental science. She was well known among her professors and peers. Described by friends as quietly intense, Lauren deeply loved hiking, field research, and local history. She volunteered at the nearby Wildlife Center, and on weekends she often hiked the less-traveled forest trails, sometimes alone. She wasn't reckless, just independent, born and raised in Wheeling. Lauren moved to Elkins in 1999 to begin college. She adapted quickly to the small-town pace, and her professors frequently praised her curiosity and determination. According to her roommate, 2002 had been a heavy year for Lauren. Her father had passed away unexpectedly in January, and she had grown more introspective since. She had recently broken off a long-term relationship, and while she appeared calm and composed to most, a few close friends said she had started taking long drives into the mountains, something she had done as a form of meditation or escape. On Thursday, October 24th, Lauren attended her morning classes as usual. She stopped by the campus dining hall shortly after 1 p.m., chatted briefly with a professor about her upcoming thesis presentation, and left campus alone in her 1998 Subaru Outback. The car was later confirmed by local authorities, West Virginia State Police Case WE 02-3347, as being found later that night along County Route 33, about 15 miles southeast of Elkins, near a trailhead known locally as Coal Hollow Pass. It has no cell service and is known for sharp drop-offs and dense canopy. Locals say you can't hear much out there except your heartbeat and the wind slicing through the trees. She never came home. When Lauren failed to return that evening, her roommate initially assumed she had gone to stay with a friend, but by morning, concern had set in. She didn't show up for her early lab class, and calls to her phone went straight to voicemail. At 9:45 a.m. on October 25th, the roommate contacted campus security. By 11 a.m., the Randolph County Sheriff's Office had been notified. A search was quickly organized. Officers located Lauren's vehicle within 2 hours of launching the search, following a vague tip from a local forest ranger who had seen a similar vehicle parked at the Cold Hollow trailhead around dusk the night before. The car was unlocked, keys in the ignition, the driver's side door closed. Her wallet, phone, and jacket were all still inside. There were no signs of struggle, blood, or drag marks. The dirt around the vehicle was damp from light rain, but undisturbed. Canine units were brought in from neighboring Tucker County. The dogs caught a light scent leading northeast from the trailhead, which disappeared about 300 yards in, near a small creek. That's where the trail ends, and so did Lauren's. Authorities treated the case with urgency. Helicopters were deployed, infrared cameras swept the surrounding forest, and dozens of volunteers combed the area over several days. Still, nothing. No shoes, prints, clothing fragments, not even a broken twig. Investigators focused initially on foul play. While Elkins is considered safe, transit activity along Highway 219 had increased in the early 2000s due to pipeline and logging work. Several out-of-town workers had been living in nearby cabins and campsites. One man, a logger from Kentucky, was briefly questioned after he was seen drinking at a local bar and bragging about knowing those hills better than the cops ever would. He had no alibi for the night Lauren disappeared, but had no direct evidence linking him to the case. He was released without charges. The FBI opened a supplementary file on the case in December 2002 under case number 34FX 7029, classify it as a potential abduction under interstate jurisdiction due to proximity of the Monongahela Forest border. But even with federal involvement, the trail remained ice cold. Complicating matters further, a series of cryptic journal entries found in Lauren's dorm room sparked further speculation. In a small leather-bound notebook, she had written about feeling followed during her hikes, and once described an encounter with a figure in the trees that she dismissed as her imagination. One entry dated October 18th, just 6 days before her disappearance, read, "Something isn't right on that trail. I can't explain it. I heard my name whispered. Clear as day, but no one was there. I didn't tell anyone because I don't want them to think I'm losing it, but I haven't been sleeping." Family and friends were shocked. Lauren had never spoken of feeling unsafe. Her mother, Judith Whitaker, later told reporters that her daughter had an overactive imagination, sure, but she wasn't paranoid. If she felt in danger, she wouldn't have gone back out there. But what if she had no choice? As weeks turned to months, tips slowed to a trickle. A hiker claimed to see a woman matching Lauren's description near Blackwater Falls, over 40 miles away, but the sighting was never substantiated. Another tip came from a trucker who claimed he gave a ride to a distressed young woman with a backpack outside Morgantown, but the woman was never identified. In 2003, a single hiking boot believed to be Lauren's was recovered near a logging road 12 miles from where her car had been found. It was heavily weathered and partially buried in mud. A forensic analysis confirmed it was hers, but offered no further leads. No other items were found nearby. By the 5th anniversary of her disappearance, Lauren Whitaker's case had become a fixture of West Virginia folklore. Her name appeared on missing persons databases, true crime forums, and several local investigative podcasts. The theories range from rational to the outlandish: an opportunistic abduction, a tragic fall into the unmarked caves that riddle the region, even whispers of cult activity in the forest's more remote areas. However, the enduring mystery lies in the lack of physical evidence for the seasoned investigators working on the case. Captain Raymond Keller, now retired, led the original investigation. "I've worked more than a few disappearances in my day," he said in a 2014 interview. "People don't fleece jacket, hiking boots, and olive cargo pants." She left their dorm room at Gribble Hall just after 7:30 a.m. with a brown canvas backpack slung over her shoulder and a thermos in hand. Lauren's first stop was the biology lab in Harper Hall, where she was scheduled to assist in setting up an 8 a.m. introductory ecology class. Professor Sandra Moeller, who supervised her, recalled Lauren being focused, quiet, and polite, no different than usual. She was always dependable, Moeller later said. That morning, she asked if she could leave right after class to use the clear weather for her research notes. "I had no reason to think anything of it." Lauren stayed until 9:25 a.m., exited the building, and was next seen at the campus dining hall at around 9:35 a.m., where she bought a granola bar, a banana, and a bottle of water. Surveillance footage showed her entering alone and leaving 8 minutes later. She exchanged a few words with classmate Jamie Lutz, who recalled the conversation later. She said she was heading to Cold Hollow to clear her head and maybe work on her field journal. She wasn't in a hurry, just kind of thoughtful. I asked her if she wanted to hang out later that evening, and she said, "Maybe. Depends if I find what I'm looking for." I didn't know what she meant at the time. That would be the last confirmed interaction Lauren had with anyone on campus. 10:12 a.m., the departure. At 10:12 a.m., Lauren's car, a 1998 forest green Subaru Outback, was seen exiting the north side of the Davis and Elkins campus by a campus maintenance worker. She was alone in the vehicle. According to later phone records obtained by investigators, case file WV 02-3347, her cell phone pinged a local tower just outside Elkins at 10:31 a.m., indicating she was still within the region. After that, there were no further digital traces. She was not seen again until 12:46 p.m. when a forest ranger, Kevin Mallory, reported observing a vehicle matching Lauren's parked at the Cold Hollow Pass trailhead. The area is about 15 miles southeast of Elkins and sits just beyond the boundary of the Monongahela National Forest. According to Mallory's statement, the car was pulled off near an unofficial footpath and partially obscured by tree cover. Didn't think much of it, Mallory later told investigators. Many college kids park out there to hike or blow off steam. I didn't see her leave, just a car there when I passed. This would later become a focal point of the investigation. 4:30 p.m. missing time. There were no confirmed sightings or interactions involving Lauren Whitaker between 12:46 p.m. and 5 p.m. The weather began to shift around 3:30 p.m. when a drizzle moved in, followed by dense fog forming over higher elevations. The temperature dropped to the high 40s by dusk. Cold Hollow Pass, known for its elevation and isolation, would have been nearly impassable to the unprepared after dark. Lauren was expected back on campus by early evening. When she hadn't returned by 8 p.m., her roommate became concerned. Megan Ellery tried calling Lauren's phone several times, but the calls went directly to voicemail. She assumed Lauren had stayed at a friend's or lost cell signal in the woods. It wouldn't be until the following morning that alarms were raised. October 25th, 2002, 9:45 a.m. Officially missing. Megan notified campus security after confirming Lauren hadn't attended her early morning class. Shortly thereafter, the Randolph County Sheriff's Office was alerted. By 11 a.m., a missing person concern status was entered into the system. Given the proximity of national forest land and the possible medical risk of exposure, the case was given urgency. At 1:26 p.m., Ranger Mallory heard the missing person alert and recalled the Subaru he had seen the day prior. A search unit was dispatched to Cold Hollow and located Lauren's vehicle at 2:09 p.m. The vehicle, scene of unease. Lauren's Subaru was parked parallel to a narrow logging road, its tires slightly sunken into the softened earth. The driver's side door was closed, the engine off, and the car was unlocked. Inside, deputies found Lauren's backpack in the passenger seat, unzipped but seemingly undisturbed. Her ID cache and credit card wallet were inside the front pocket. Her cell phone, powered off, was found between the seats. Her thermos sat empty in the cup holder. Notably, her fleece jacket was still draped over the passenger seat. Odd, given the cold temperatures. Also found was a well-worn copy of a Sand County Almanac with marginal notes and a small, spiral-bound field journal containing botanical sketches from a prior hike. There are no signs of forced entry or struggle, drag marks, footprint around the car, or discarded items leading away. 3 p.m., search operation begins. By late afternoon, a ground search had been mobilized. 2 K-9 units from Tucker County began combing the woods. A scent trail leading northeast was picked up, but it faded quickly after several hundred yards near a small stream. The dogs circled repeatedly before returning to the trailhead. From that point on, the trail went cold. Over the next 72 hours, search and rescue teams expanded the radius to over 12 square miles. Helicopters with FLIR thermal imaging were deployed, and volunteers from as far as Charleston arrived to assist. Despite the effort, no physical trace of Lauren was found. Not clothing, gear, or footprints. Nothing. Family and media involvement. Lauren's parents, Judith and Robert Whitaker, arrived in Elkins the following day. During the press briefing, Judith broke down during the interview. She never just disappeared. Lauren doesn't run from things. If she's out there, she needs help. And if someone took her, God help them, because I will never stop looking. The Elkins Intermountain published a front-page story under the headline, "Student Vanishes in Monongahela Mystery." National coverage followed within days, with segments on Good Morning America and Dateline's Missing Person Spotlight. Despite the attention, tips remained minimal. Red Herring 1, the Morgantown trucker. On October 29th, a truck driver contacted the tip line, claiming he picked up a young woman in distress just outside Morgantown, roughly 90 miles northeast of Elkins. The woman refused to give her name and abruptly exited the vehicle near a gas station. Police obtained surveillance footage from the location. The woman in the footage did not match Lauren's description, and she was eventually identified as a local runaway. The lead was dismissed, but not before it stirred false hope for the family. Red Herring 2, the out-of-state logger. Another lead emerged when a logger named Craig Denny, originally from Kentucky, was questioned after multiple locals reported hearing him make creepy comments about the case at a dive bar near Beverly. Denny had no known connection to Lauren, but had been working the area in late October. He initially denied any knowledge of Cold Hollow, but GPS records from his company's vehicle later placed him just 2 miles from the trailhead on the afternoon of October 24th. He was brought in for further questioning. Denny claimed he had parked nearby to hunt deer on private land. Though his story was suspicious, a fellow worker corroborated it, and no evidence connected him to the disappearance. He remained a person of interest for several weeks but was never charged. Theories, whispers, and rumors. As the months dragged on, theories began to circulate in town. Some believed Lauren simply got lost in the forest and succumbed to exposure, though no body was ever found. Others leaned toward foul play, citing the suspicious proximity of logging crews and the isolation of the trailhead. And then there were the rumors that spread like wildfire through back channels and local lore. One of the more persistent whispers involved the old coal tunnels beneath the forest. Locals claimed they'd heard of people vanishing into those tunnels, decades old, collapsed in places, and largely unmapped. One retired miner said, "Those hills V got more holes in them than Swiss cheese. If she fell into one, she ain't coming back." Authorities acknowledged the presence of abandoned shafts, but dismissed this theory as unlikely given her last known location and the distance from documented entrances. Emotional fallout. By early 2003, hope began to fade. Lauren's parents remained active in the search, launching a website and working with nonprofits to circulate her story. Judith Whitaker became a fixture in state advocacy groups for missing adults. Robert Whitaker, however, grew increasingly withdrawn. According to family friends, he spent long stretches alone in the woods, retracing his daughter's known hiking routes, even in winter. Their home in Wheeling became a shrine, with missing posters, maps with marked sightings, and taped interviews pinned to the walls. Lauren's childhood room was left untouched. The Boot in the Mud, March 2003. In March 2003, nearly 5 months after her disappearance, a hunter stumbled upon a single hiking boot lodged in thick mud near Deschutes Logging Road 12 miles from Cold Hollow. It was partially submerged in weather by snowmelt. The boot was a match to the brand and size Lauren had worn. Soil sample and environmental testing indicated it had likely been there for several months. There were no prints, DNA, or blood, just a solitary artifact in the wilderness. Investigators marked the find as significant, but ultimately inconclusive. Final case summary update, August 2003. On August 14, 2003, Lauren Whitaker's case officially changed from active search to inactive, pending leads. The FBI closed its supplemental file, citing a lack of evidence to support interstate crime. As of today, WVSB case WV 02-3347 remains open. Her file contains over 450 pages of interviews, forensic reports, and dead ends. But for all its paperwork, there's one thing missing: answers. They say Appalachia doesn't give up its secrets easily. Lauren Whitaker vanished in the heart of the West Virginia wilderness on a gray October day in 2002. What began as a peaceful solo excursion into Cold Hollow Pass has become one of the most chilling and perplexing unsolved disappearances in the Appalachian region. Investigators were left to sift through layers of possibility with no body, no definitive witnesses, and no confirmed evidence of crime. Over the years, 3 main theories have emerged, each compelling but shadowed by inconsistencies. Some seem grounded in the stark reality of remote terrain and human vulnerability. Others hint at something darker, something hiding beneath the surface of the forested hills. And in every theory, one thread remains consistent: Lauren Whitaker has never come home. Theory 1, a tragic misstep, the wilderness accident. The simplest theory is often the hardest to accept, that Lauren wandered off trail and succumbed to the elements. according to the Randolph County Sheriff's Office. This is the most plausible official explanation. Cold Hollow Pass is steep and isolated, filled with hidden ravines, loose shale ridges, and rapidly shifting weather. A solo hiker without a working phone, caught in low visibility and falling temperatures, would have been dangerously exposed. Lieutenant Greg Palmer, who led the initial search, explained, "We had experienced hikers struggle out there. If she veered off the unofficial path and tried to loop back, she could have gotten turned around within minutes. People underestimate how quiet those woods get. It's worth noting that the scent trail picked up by dogs in the first 24 hours did follow a northeast direction, where uncharted terrain becomes particularly treacherous. The discovery of a boot in March 2003, 12 miles from the trailhead, supports a theory that Lauren may have covered more ground than search teams initially estimated. However, skeptics point out the lack of additional evidence. There was not a scrap of clothing, no skeletal remains, and no signs of animal predation. Even in cases of wilderness death, recovery of remains is common over time. The area where the boot was found had already been scanned by drones and infrared in the days following her disappearance. How had it gone unnoticed? Moreover, the condition of her parked vehicle suggested she never intended to stray far. She left behind her coat, wallet, and phone, all things one would take in preparing for extended exposure. While students familiar with the region admitted to using Cold Hollow for clearing their heads, Lauren was known to be cautious and deliberate in her fieldwork. Her journal from the day before detailed plans to begin cataloging fern varieties, not exactly spontaneous behavior. Still, for Lauren's father, Robert, the wilderness theory remains the most painful. "I don't believe she just got lost. She was smarter than that. She respected those woods. Something or someone intervened." Theory 2, abduction or foul play. Unfortunately, the second theory is darker and more common in rural disappearances. Lauren Whitaker was not alone that day. This possibility hinges on the 2-hour window of vulnerability between 10:30 a.m., when her phone last pinged a tower outside Elkins, and 12:46 p.m., when a forest ranger spotted her vehicle at the trailhead. That window remains unaccounted for. Could someone have followed, intercepted her, or arrived at Cold Hollow shortly after she did? One piece of circumstantial evidence frequently cited by proponents of the foul play theory is the unlocked condition of her car and the untouched nature of her belongings. To some investigators, this suggests a sudden, unexpected encounter, possibly someone she trusted, or someone who caught her off guard. Several individuals were also questioned early in the investigation, and while never arrested or formally charged, they left behind trails of uncertainty. Take Craig Denny, the Kentucky logger working within a few miles of the site that week. Though he denied ever seeing Lauren, GPS logs from his employer's truck placed him suspiciously close to the unmarked service road where her vehicle was found. He had also recently been let go from a previous job due to erratic behavior and inappropriate conduct toward female colleagues. While police ultimately cleared him, some residents of Elkins weren't convinced. "There was just something off about him," said a local waitress who served Denny the night of Lauren's disappearance. "He kept asking if they'd found her yet. Said it like he already knew they wouldn't." Then there was the anonymous tip phone into the WVSP tip line in early November, claiming Lauren had been seen being led into an old hunting cabin 3 miles northeast of Cold Hollow. Authorities searched the area but found a collapsed structure and signs of squatters long gone. This theory gained more weight after local hunters reported hearing shouting or screaming in the woods that weekend. Those accounts were never verified. Still, the most damning evidence pointing to abduction was the absolute lack of evidence itself. In most voluntary disappearances or wilderness deaths, nature leaves clues. A torn jacket, a bag was dropped in panic, a phone signal moves through towers. But in Lauren's case, the forest remained silent. Theory 3, a voluntary disappearance, escape or breakdown. Could Lauren have simply chosen to vanish? To those closest to her, the idea seems unthinkable. Lauren was grounded, academically focused, and deeply committed to her future. She had just been awarded a research assistantship. Her parents describe her as private, but not withdrawn. Still, there were subtle signs that suggested inner turmoil. 1 week before her disappearance, Lauren reportedly had a heated argument with her ex-boyfriend Evan Rill, a senior at the same college. Rill claimed it was about miscommunication, and police found no history of violence or harassment. But friends later admitted that Lauren had been more distant in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. She was often seen walking alone, sometimes crying. Her journal entries became more fragmented, philosophical, and almost melancholy. "I feel like something is coming," read one line from an entry dated October 19th. "Not sure what it is, but I think I'll recognize it when I get there." Some psychologists brought in by the family proposed that Lauren may have suffered from a brief dissociative episode, possibly triggered by stress or an undiagnosed condition. It's a controversial diagnosis, often criticized for its vagueness, but it does occur, particularly in knowledgeable young adults under intense academic or emotional pressure. Could Lauren have intentionally gone into the forest, seeking solitude, and started a new life far from West Virginia? The issue with this theory is logistics. Lauren had no history of financial preparation or secret savings and left behind every item she'd need to survive independently. No train tickets or motel receipts. Her bank account remained untouched, and her social security number was never flagged again. And if she truly wanted to disappear, why Cold Hollow? Why leave her phone off, but not destroyed? Why bring her field journal if the intent was to sever ties? Voluntary disappearance may be possible, but it feels incomplete in Lauren's case. Bonus theory: the Cold Hollow Whispers. A fourth theory lies more in the realm of folklore than forensic science. Locals in Randolph County have long whispered about Cold Hollow, telling stories of phantom lights, voices in the fog, and strange figures moving through the trees. According to Appalachian folklore, the region sits near a confluence of ley lines and is said to be home to thin places, where the veil between worlds is weak. In 1976, a hunter named Cecil Burgess went missing in nearly the same area. His rifle was found leaning against a tree. His dog returned to camp alone. His body was never recovered. The incident was long forgotten until Lauren's disappearance revived interest. Elderly residents still recall tales of the hollow-eyed ones, spirits that lure the lonely into the woods. Most view such stories as superstition, but a few, including one retired ranger, claim to hear something during the 2002 search that still haunts them. "We were camped out near a ridgeline. No radios, no lights. Around 2 a.m., we heard a woman's voice, calling for help, faint, like she was just out of reach. We followed it for an hour. Then nothing." While no physical evidence supports the supernatural, another point to weather anomalies: unexplained fog patterns and cold snaps reported during the original search days. To believers, Lauren didn't get lost, nor did a man take her. The forest itself took her. But again, none of this can be proven. 15 years later, today, the trailhead at Cold Hollow remains. A small weathered sign and a rusting metal gate mark the entrance. Visitors leave flowers, tokens, and occasionally handwritten notes, many addressed directly to Lauren. Her case remains active in the West Virginia Cold Case database. Her family holds an annual vigil, lighting candles at the edge of the woods. They've never declared her deceased. They never will. "We don't want closure," her mother once said. "We want Lauren." Final thoughts. So what had happened to Lauren Whitaker? Was it a simple, tragic accident? A young woman lost of forest indifference? Was she taken by someone she trusted, or by a predator hiding in the remote stretches of Monongahela? Or did she walk away, tired of something none of us knew she carried? Or was it something we cannot explain? What do you think happened to Lauren? Was it a tragic accident, or something far more sinister? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for more content relating to horrors and missing cases.